thanks everyone for joining us. This is part of Backstage's slate of digital content that we're putting out at the moment. I'm really chuffed to have the CDA and some of its board members with us today. The CDA are the Casting Directors Association. They have been running for quite a few years now, and their focus is on helping the casting community and acting community. They do a lot of work for you guys as well as actors to support casting directors who work in that area and other areas too. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves and tell you a bit about their work and the type of work they do, and also what they do with the CDA. So Brendan, let's go to you first.
Hi, I'm Brendan McNamara. I own Beach Casting. We cast across the board. So our bread and butter are commercials, but we also do film, TV, short film, and internet content. So whatever comes in over the desk, we'll cast it.
Great. And what do you do with the CDA, Brendan?
Oh, sorry, I'm advisory.
Great.
I'm giggling.
And Kate, what about you?
Hello, my name's Kate Evans. I am part of Kate, Lou and Row Casting. Very similar to Brendan, we sort of do everything apart from theatre, because that's a specialised thing, James. And James will update you on that. I am currently the chair of the CDA at the moment.
Lovely. Andrea, let's come to you.
Hi, I'm Andrea Clark, and guess what? Just like the others, I work across the board in everything apart from theatre. My background is probably more in film and TV, and then when I set up on my own, I moved into more of the commercials and short films and indie stuff, and I do press and PR for the CDA.
Great. And James?
Yeah, I'm James, and with my wife Rosie, we run Pearson Casting. We work across the board, but definitely theatre live performances are a big area for us. Short film and film, not as much in the commercial world. We have done them. It's a crazy world. And I work on the website of things.
Great, cool. So when I put out this panel, I did say that it was quite heavy in the description that we were going to be talking a lot about COVID, which we are definitely going to talk about. Any sort of themes that you're seeing coming through in casting, how you might see that things might evolve after we're all out of isolation, as we get in there. But we are going to talk about loads of other things. There's a Q&A box, guys, so if you have any questions, please do pop them in. I've got some questions for everybody to start us off, and then we'll be getting to all of your questions. And yeah, so I just wanted to start by just going from the beginning with the COVID chat. James, how did you see, because you do work with theatre, and how did it start to affect your work? Was it quite quickly, and how was it sort of moved across?
Yeah, no, it was at 24 hours. It all stopped. So it happened. We were actually in New York for the Broadway opening of Six, the musical. And that's the night they were supposed to open was the day Broadway shut. And which was a good thing. It was good that it didn't open and then Broadway closed the next day, so it can get its opening, when Broadway reopens. And then we came back early. We actually got an early flight because we thought this is all going to go very badly. And that's when on the literally Monday and Tuesday, that was it. Everything was done. Wow. And then from the announcement of, we would rather you didn't go to theatres. We're not closing them, but please don't go. And then that was it. So, but we look after 6 major cruise lines as well. We cast performers on there. TUI hotel chain, we cast performers in there. Haven parks, so performers throughout the whole of the UK. But every single area just obviously ground to a complete halt. So within 24 hours, that was it. It was all stopped.
Wow. And are you getting any news from any part of that? So obviously the tourism industry and...
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is, and we'll probably talk about this a lot, is to not really dwell on where the future is and the key for us is to prepare for what the new future will be. And it will be it will definitely be a new industry for a time to come when we come back. I think the thing that we tell a lot of performers at the moment is to just not just literally take it day by day, because every single day the government announces or doesn't announce something different. And I think we're seeing changes constantly, and you can prepare so much. And you can sort of go, okay, this is the company line, this is where we are, this is where we're at right now. But realistically, nobody truly knows. It's like, there's going to be a vaccine in 3 months. Now it could be a year. Oh no, it is 3 months. And now it's 2 years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so for actors, I don't stress on that. Just stress on what we call cleaning your house. You know, we've done it in our office, shredded all those CVs finally, got everything in order, and so on and so forth. We're prepping ourselves for the new industry that will come about. And we've created things to help others do that as well. But I think you can plan for something, but if you cannot plan and put that in stone, because it's changing daily. And we have webinars with SALT and so, the Theatre Producers Association, and even they're saying, this is kind of it, but nobody really knows, and we're trying to find out information. But the key is every area is working very hard to maintain on top of it. Like every organization is really acting very positively. It's shown that the entire community is incredibly supportive of each other, which is wonderful. And just remember that. And when it all comes back, keep the same attitude, because I think it's really important.
Yeah, 100%. The amount, well, just through doing these Backstage, the digital slate that I've been doing with them, but just on Twitter, you only have to go on there for 5 minutes and everybody's supporting each other, and it's really, really lovely. We all know how important it is, and I hope that does continue. So, so Kate, with the CDA at the moment, what sort of information are you putting out there, and what sort of support are you giving to casting directors who are working in the sector? What advice are you sort of giving?
Well, for a start, we're there for each other, which has been brilliant. So just picking the phone up and talking to another casting director, because we are all in the same boat, is support. And, you don't feel alone. As James said, the industry has just shut down literally overnight. So, we're all aware of that. I think we're looking forwards now. So this week I've actually been talking to the casting studios about how we're going to move forward for castings. So things are going to change 100%. We've been using this time, many casting directors have been on, we audition, Zoom, various platforms for casting. And I think we're all trying to find out which is a way forward with casting. We've discussed pre-casting. So the first round of casting may be done on a platform. And that's going to stop people travelling into London, their carbon footprint for a start. Plus the money of getting into London. If you're outside town, it costs a lot of money. And what we're finding is that we can give clients the pre-casting, and then they can request 2 or 3 actors to come back. So rather than going up for an audition where you're looking at, 1 in 12 chance of getting, you're going to be coming in to meet the director who's hand selected you, and you're 50-50 chance or 1 in 3 chance of getting the part. So I think we're all looking at ways to make this work. Studios, we still need studios. We are still going to do live castings at some point, but I think it's reducing that at the moment. And also for the studios, obviously we're taking guidelines from the government, social distancing, masks. Most of the studios now have got plastic coverings around the reception desk, cameraman and a casting director in the room, and that is it, and the actor. And obviously the waiting times and things like that, it's going to be well organised. And as James said, all we can do is just try and keep up with legislation and guidelines that are changing on a daily basis. When the borders open, that would be great for foreign commercials that a lot of us do and foreign clients that we have. But again, we still don't know if a British actor or actress is able to fly, say, to Germany and do a shoot. There might be a 2-week quarantine in Germany. So there's all these things. We don't know what's going to happen. I think being prepared and being positive and all of us working together will get there and we'll make this work. And it will just be a different industry to what we're used to. But I think there's lots of positive things that can be done in this time, and they are happening as well.
Yeah, definitely. Have you seen any trends in anything that is continuing to cast at the moment, Andrea?
As far as I'm concerned, I've seen very little of what's coming up. the majority of my commercial clients are all based in Europe. So I was literally pulling people off planes and saying, don't get on it. And there are sort of short films and stuff. I'm starting to see ones that are coming through that are going to be all filmed by Zoom, or, you know, a bit like isolation stories on the ITV. That's starting to come through, but I haven't seen any sort of change in UK commercials, because that's probably less my area. It's probably more Kate, Brendan. They've probably seen more.
Yeah, Brendan, you'd be more up on that.
Yeah, I mean, just to let you know, folks, they'll definitely be filming in this country in June, plain and simple. I've quoted on a few potential jobs. Again, bigger clients are a bit nervous to do bigger shoots, obviously because of the numbers of people, and also the bigger the shoot, the bigger the financial commitment, and obviously there's still an issue of insurance and so on and so forth, and these boring things that have to be added into production costs, etc. But I mean, people are definitely gearing up to shoot in this country in June, and I think it'll be 1 or 2 day commercials as opposed to 6-week film shoots yet. But that's going to be the start. And I think just for yourselves, just to be hopeful about, the industry wants to get back, and the industry wants to be proactive, and everybody wants to make it work with the guidelines we have. So, you know, we will be back, and hopefully we'll be all stronger for this time. So, yeah.
Do you see anything that's coming through your end, which like, how are they tackling the problem of having to social distance with certain things? Is it just that they're shooting with one or a few people and they are all social distance? What have you sort of seen in that way?
Well, I've seen, so this week I've quoted on 3 different things. One was a shoot where it was single shot actor doing something on a kind of green screen background anyway. Now, I don't know if it was written that way because of COVID, or that was just how it was going to be. Because you often have just, you know, one actor and a bit of green screen doing a bit of product work, for example. So the thing I'm seeing as well is, obviously there's a lot of this home shooting stuff going on. And with the Bundesliga being back on Saturday, I watched a bit of sport for the first time in a while. And I was amazed that every ad was this home shooting thing, which is great, but it's, you know, it's creatively not very, very interesting, I find. And that's only my personal opinion. I mean, fair play to everyone who worked in it and, you know, got some work from it, and obviously the casting and production people involved. But if every ad is, you know, rough footage of people at home, it isn't very exciting. In my opinion, but that's the only trend I'm seeing at the moment is, you know, needs must, so they have to shoot it that way. But I mean, the guidelines we've been issued are just talking about all casting being virtual at the moment, and that includes recalls for the moment.
Yeah.
And I think scripts will be catered for this, but I don't think every script is going to be, you know, a COVID script. You know, I think we can't get too fixated on this, and we can't just have every, you know, advert linked to COVID, you know, because, you know, we have fantasy scripts and comedy scripts and all kind of different genres that will change. And, you know, Star Trek, just to put it out there, has nothing or arse all to do with bloody COVID. So, you know, there's going to be fantasy scripts. You know, we can't just get fixated on the fact that we shouldn't be out of our houses or we shouldn't be meeting people. You know, historical scripts are going to get made again eventually, guys. You know, all this stuff. You know, we just need to figure out how we can work with this, and we'll figure a way to muddle through and work with it like we've always done. You know, even before all this, productions had hassle and grief, and, you know, visas had to get sorted, and children could only work a certain amount of hours, blah, blah, blah. We will get the guidelines, we'll find a way, and we will shoot stuff. Yeah. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm. we also need a bit of escapism on our TV screens from this claustrophobic room that I'm living in. So
Yes.
there are going to be more creative ways of shooting and script writing after this point. So I really want to talk about, I've got a really nice reflection from my flowers on my face there, that's weird. I really want to talk about all of the amazing things. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but what the casting community is doing for their fellow casting directors, but also for agents and actors at the moment is amazing. And I know that you guys at the CDA are doing some really great stuff. So Andrea, could you talk to us a little bit about what you're doing?
Well, I think all of our members are getting involved as much or as little as they actually can in the whole sort of like getting it out there on social media, doing one-to-ones, doing casting clinics, jumping on We Audition. And we thought as the CDA, we need to do something under the CDA banner to kind of put it out there and help you guys. So we've set up a YouTube channel and we've been doing weekly Q&As. We post the question on Twitter. You stick out your questions. We then put it to a panel of 3 CDA members who then discuss all the issues around it, and then we post it up normally on a Monday, sometimes on a Friday, and put it on the YouTube channel, and there you go. You've got an instant reference point to go. All those niggly questions, hopefully we're answering them.
Yeah, they're really, really great content that you've been putting out. And I know that you've been doing specific one-to-ones as well. Have you been doing any one-to-ones yourself, Kate? Or was it?
Yeah, I've done a lot of one-to-ones.
Okay.
Andrea's probably the queen of one-to-ones at the moment, but yeah, I think we've all been doing a lot. But do you know what? That makes us good at our jobs. I've met a lot of actors I would not have met before. You know, so we're still casting, we're still using our brains and thinking, God, that person would be great for this. Why haven't I met that person before? So in my mind, I've expanded all the people in my head. You know, I've got lists and lists when we go back to work to be printed out, there's pictures to go up on the wall, and you know, so we can remind ourselves of all the great people that we've met. So from that point of view, I found it exciting and interesting, and yeah, new talent, which is what all our jobs are about, is discovering new talent. So
Also,
yeah. Go on, Andrea.
Also, I'm finding that it's quite interesting. I'm actually meeting people in their own environment, so I'm getting to know them as a person much more than I would in a, you know, slightly antiseptic casting environment. You know, so when they come in, I can go, oh yeah, you're the one that had the Star Trek mug or whatever, and there's an instant connection I've got with somebody. So I make really silly little notes like, oh yes, this is the person who grows their own run of beans or something.
So say if somebody has booked a one-to-one then, and they're trying to think, right, I need to make the most of this opportunity, or, you know, whatever. What do you guys talk about on there? Is it a chance for them to read for you, or do you just have a general chit chat? Anything.
I mean, I've done one-to-ones with monologues, I've done one-to-ones where we've looked at show reels and given feedback from show reels and CVs. I do like having a chit chat, and I do like seeing someone else's room, because I've been in my own house for so long. I'm like, they should turn the camera around. Can we ever just quickly whiz around the room, you know? So I'm with Andrea on that, looking at other people's houses. But it could be anything. I mean, different casting directors want different things. Guys, do you want to chip in?
Yeah, we started almost in week 1 but we did Q&As, and I think like within the theatre community, we see often quite a large volume for projects. So we were thinking of ways to reach a large audience. So we did a Q&A on The Hustle, which now other CDA members are going to be doing on a bi-weekly basis as well. And I think we had like just shy of 11,000 views of people watching me and Rosie talking about everything Corona and casting and all that kind of stuff, which was really great. And then, so we've done lots of that. I mean, I think we're doing a Q&A every day, almost every single day, either with a college or with, you know, this kind of thing. We've done podcasts, Q&As, etc., to talk about the industry and what's going on. So that's gone really well. And then we've started up doing surgeries where we have to charge because it takes time, and it's like, you know, and we were like, right, okay, this is like a class thing. It's not a casting. It's getting your house in the right way, and that's gone over really well. And it's gone over with a real kind of positivity of being able to, I guess, because we do a video of it, so we actually like video the screen and tell them what we're looking at. And I think even just like when I was a performer for 19 years, and just thinking that my CV was, that's how it should look, or that's how it should be, or this is how a showreel should be. Surely they want all of this, and it's like, actually not. Just get straight to the business, straight off, or just the way a CV lays out, because we, you know, work in such volume, and especially in theatre, like we had recently cast Rent, and we had over 4,500 CVs, you know, submissions. So we read 4,500 submissions and listened to thousands of reels. So you start working on about speed and efficiency of what that CV says, and it's literally in a blink you can see things missing, or no, they're not right, or this and that. And so it's, but you know, I was chatting to a college yesterday, and they were like, oh, I didn't want to show off, I didn't want to put highly skilled next to all those things. And I'm like, well, if you don't, then you're not saying you're highly skilled in it, so we don't know, so we'll move on to the person that does have highly skilled. And it's, I just think your CV is whether it's on Spotlight or wherever you use it, Mandy, or you have your own CV, you've got to sell yourself. It's the thing that we look at to get you in the room if we haven't met you or seen you. So it's got to be right. It's got to sell you.
So how can people who are watching now, if they want to refine their CV or have a look at any of the other things that you're doing when you're assessing and giving feedback on those things, how can people find out more about doing that with you?
With us?
Yeah.
On our website. You can go on the website, and it's called Industry Surgeries, and we've got 6 there at the moment. So website analysis, social media is really interesting. Rosie does that one, and actors have written back going, oh my God, I had no idea. How did you find that? And we're like, we're casting directors. We should work for MI6. Let's just put it there. If it's out there, we will find it. And we do. And they're like, I had no idea. And we're like, yeah, you might want to look at that. And so then show reels and self-tape and CVs, letter writing. We do a cover letter writing one, just like, it's a massive, it's your first step, isn't it? And hire, ! Ain't going to get you in any room. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you're writing to an agent or a casting director, we want to know that you've done a little bit of work, that you've kind of looked into who we are, and that you know what we're casting and things. And an agent especially, oh my gosh, don't write, you know, we're a little more thick-skinned, and we need to find talent. But don't write to an agent, hello agent, and then put 25 agents in the, you know, you're sending it out to 25 agents. You know, find out who they are, find out how they like to be written to. Do they like to be written to?
Yeah.
Research,
just
isn't it? It's just research.
Yeah. You know, the thing,
everyone's got time to do it now. You know, you should all be
and
looking
you
at
have.
web pages.
Definitely. And something we always say is like, you know, we're casting directors are constantly being asked to care about you. So from the industry, you know, you want us to care, and you want us to put the time in to find you. But if you don't care about you, you can't then ask us to care about you. You can't ask that of us. So if you're not putting the time in to write that email and just find out our name or the agent's name, if you're not, you know, if you're not labeling your self-tape correctly, and you've specifically been asked to do that, specifically been asked to upload, not WeTransfer or whatever it is, you can't ask those questions from us. You can't ask us to put that love and care into you as a performer if you're not doing it yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's basically help us help you.
Yeah.
It's a jigsaw puzzle. Give us the completed jigsaw puzzle, not all the little bits, and ask us to put it together.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what about you, Brendan? Because I know that you've been doing free workshops on Twitch, right?
Yeah, I saw what was happening with, I haven't done the one-to-one thing, and the reason I chose not to is I felt that it was being well covered by people. But one of the complaints for the one-to-one thing was that people couldn't get in. So obviously when it started, there was, you know, a downpouring of actors trying to get into these one-to-ones. And the big complaint was, I can't get in, I can't get seen, or I waited several hours and couldn't get seen, which is no fault to the, you know, people doing them or the forums that are hosting them. It's just, you know, there's a lot of actors and people only have a certain amount of time. So I thought it'd be an idea just to do a Twitch workshop, which is, you know, it's free, and you basically, I just chat for about 2 hours about people, which I'm quite capable of doing. I reviewed people's CVs and show reels and just gave hints on where I felt they could tighten up their show reel or their CV, or if I felt their pictures were, you know, good pictures or mundane pictures, try to explain how I worked and looked at things. So I did quite a lot of them at the start, and I will be starting them up again. Because if I'm very honest, I kind of burnt myself out a wee bit because I was doing nearly 2 a week, and yeah. But I will be. I've had quite a few people email whose CVs haven't been reviewed, but I will be starting that up again once I get a few of these webinars and things out of the way. But yeah, it's over on Twitch. It's free. Anyone can watch in. If you don't want to type in a question or send something on, it doesn't matter. You can still watch. And, you know, we learn from other people's mistakes or from other people's great ideas. So I feel it's a good way that anyone can watch in, and lots of numbers can watch, and you don't have to wait around, or you can get involved if you want or not. So, you know, it's there, and it's, I hope that people have been finding it useful.
And you post those out on your Twitter, don't you?
Everything's on. I'm only really on Twitter. I don't really use Instagram, and I don't use Facebook. So anything we do is on Twitter. And
everything that we've been speaking about with the one-to-ones, and Brandon, what you've been doing with Twitch, and James, what you've been doing with the CV surgeries. There's a chat box at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's so much love that's coming through. So everything that you're doing, everyone appreciates so much. And
thanks, folks.
Yeah, it's really lovely. So I'm going to move on to some questions from some actors. So Eleanor Appleton has asked, do you think the changes made through the pandemic lockdown, such as majority of castings taking place via self-tape, will continue post-pandemic? If so, this would be benefit of actors living outside of major cities and may level the playing field slightly. Would you like to see more regional actors being given more opportunities? James, if we could go to you first, and then guys, just jump in as you like.
Sure. Well, we used to be based in Liverpool. We still have a address up there, but we had to move close to London because we were in London like 4 times a week for every week, so it just became impractical. But we are very big on the regional actors still. Liverpool is like our second home, and when we started casting, we were based in Liverpool, and we made a commitment that I think there's only once we didn't, but every single project that we've ever worked on, we've done a Liverpool casting. So that became part of our thing. And with that, we introduced major cruise lines to the city that had never been there. From that, musicals that we started casting, so it was enabling people to come down from Glasgow and back in a day. They could literally, for like 35 quid, instead of the trip to London, Scotland, the whole of the North Wales, it made all that very easy. And then we've noticed that other casting directors within theatre have started going to Liverpool as well, rather than just Manchester, or even making a switch between Manchester to use Liverpool. And that's really exciting. I think probably speak for everyone, but that everyone else will comment. I think regional casting is important. It is very difficult though. As you can see, we are all 1-man, 2-man bands. So it isn't that we don't want to go to every single city and cast in every single city. If the budget was there and the time was there, I'd do it in a heartbeat, because, I love the British cities that we get to go to, but it's not practical. And unfortunately, like, we had to remove. We didn't want to. We had to move back towards London because that's where everything is, and that's where, and that is the hub. So I think there's a huge support. I would say almost every casting director I've come across wants that regional connection, absolutely. But sometimes it's not practical. And also, especially if you're working internationally, like these guys work internationally in the commercial, we do theatre-wise, they fly into London, and that's where they come into. They've got 2 days, bang, they want to be in London. in there and then they're out again, rather than land in London, then have to get to Birmingham or even fly into Birmingham because the connection from Birmingham to Dubai might be different or whatever it is. You know, these people are traveling that we work with as well. So it just, I guess, you know, there has to be a location where majority is central, but certainly very, very supportive of you know, casting all over the UK.
Yeah, and with what you were speaking about earlier, Kate, with pre-casting, that is going to open it up a lot to people outside of London.
Absolutely, and you know, as casting directors, we're very aware of pulling people from Manchester to a London audition. Some of those train tickets, you know, 120 quid return. It is ridiculous, but it's also the impact on the environment as well. You know, during this lockdown, we've realised that, you know, the planet is healing itself, and we can all do something to help it, you know, and there is no reason, we're starting to realise, that people should come down from Manchester to start with, or Newcastle, or Glasgow. You know, we do have technology, we should be using it more. And I think for the first round of casting, I think it will be the way forward. Yeah. Absolutely.
So say if, obviously a little bit different now, but if you had a situation before where you were holding a casting session and you had invited a group of people and somebody was really panicking about having to pay £120, they just didn't have the money to come down, would you prefer them to let you know and try and make a workaround, or is that not always possible?
Absolutely. I would hate to think anyone spent £120 coming to a casting that they're going to have them in the room for 5 minutes, say. You know, it just seems ludicrous. And I've got to be honest, none of us can afford it. You know, travel is expensive, and it's the time out of your day as well. I do think, you know, and guys, you need to do your research on self-tapes. You do need to have a plain background. You do need to make sure you're lit well. We can hear you. You know, there's all sorts of, you know, all of us have got hints on self-taping on our websites. I think the CDA have got one as well. You know, there's lots of information out there on how to do a good self-tape. And also with self-taping as well, what we found before, you know, commercial, the turnaround is very quickly. I don't want a self-tape coming in 6 days after I've requested it. In my mind, the commercial has probably been shot by then. You know, we've all got a phone. I really don't make me wait 5 days for a self-tape. Guys, as actors, you need to be on it. You need to be getting that self-tape to the casting directors ASAP, you know. And again, it's like James was saying earlier, this is time for you guys to get the right equipment. I know on Amazon they do a little tripod and a ring light, and your phone goes in the middle. I think it's about 14 quid, you know. Start testing how you're going to upload to sites. You know, is your internet speed strong enough? Lighting, you know, you might live by a main road. So obviously lorries going past in the background is not going to be helpful. But this is time to be testing this out and testing like we've been doing all the different casting platforms, you know. This will be the way forward, definitely. Yeah. I can't see us going back to ever doing the castings like we used to, full stop.
And that's going to be...
are different and client selects are different, and you're getting down, particularly in theatre, musical theatre, you get down to the last sort of 4 or 5. Group dynamics, we always have to see people together to make sure that it's working as a group. So there will be live casting, but I don't think it'll ever be the same as what we used to.
It's going to be, that's most definitely going to be how it is with musical theatre as well as plays. But musical theatre, you know, again, we're constantly banging on that you really have to get on top of this now, because that is how the industry will come back. I don't want to go to Pineapple or any of these big dance places to hold auditions with hundreds of people around. I don't want to do that. So I want to walk in and there's just the final few because of social distancing. And I think that, you know, we've been saying, like, you need to practice just the way Kate said now. A song might work well in this room. That's a rock song room, but then you have to go there for a legit MT or there for your contempt. It may not be. And that's the same with, like, you know, you might find that you're doing a self-tape of something that's really sensitive and it works in this environment, in this room, but then you're doing something really passionate and really, you know, violent or angry or whatever is it in your self-tape. It might not work in that environment. You've got to practice every room, what the sound is like, you can do that now. You really can.
Yeah, great advice.
Can I just quickly make a point there, Hannah? Obviously the COVID situation is pushing us faster towards self-tapes and Zoom casting, so on and so forth. But it was already on the cards.
Yeah.
You know, the producers, and I think, you know, Kate might be able to tell you a bit more about this, but the producers were already looking at, you know, sustainability, how our productions can cause less damage to the environment. So already producers before COVID were already thinking that, you know, the first rounds could be done via self-tape, so on and so forth, and stop dragging people into London and stop all this, you know, transportation stuff, and let's have greener productions. So I think this is just going to fast track it. The current situation is going to fast track it even more. So just, you know, joining in with what the guys said there, you got to have military precision with your self-tapes, guys. You know, get them down, get your little self-tape, you know, package together. So if you travel, or when we're traveling again, you know, so you have your stuff with you, you know, whether it's your phone, your camera, your light, or your little tripod, however you do it, but figure out a way that's easy for you to do it, because you will be doing a lot more of them.
Yeah, great. Dominic, on the same topic as of self-tapes there. So Dominic De Bartolo has asked on self-tapes, how can you ensure an actor is really right for that role if you never get a chance to meet them in person, given the circumstances? So when you're at home, you can film it quite a few different ways until you get it right. And that doesn't mean that when you're on set and you're under pressure with the time schedule and etc., how can you make that decision based on a tape?
Andrea.
Sorry, Andrea.
I think actually, yes, you can see quite a lot from self-tape. We can get an idea. But equally, I don't think we will ever cast really big roles just from self-tape. We probably will get you either in the room with the director or in a virtual room with the director, so they can give you actual feedback and give you direction and check that you can take direction and that you can listen. So I think it's be quite rare that you are cast in a significant role purely from a self-tape. I don't know what the others think.
I agree. I think, you know, self-tape, we get to see, there's glimpses in your tapes that we think are brilliant. We're after that. Directors, we all see different things in different people. And from an actor's point of view, self-tape's hard because you guys overthink it. We're not. We know what our director wants and we can see glimpses of it. And the directors know if they're going to be able to direct you to get a performance out of you. You know, and now with Zoom and Skype, you can record it. We audition, you know, the self-tape can be a start, but then we can get involved and we can give you direction and we can record that. And the director can be online as well. So, you know, all actors overthink everything. And we all do generally. It's very difficult not to overthink things, guys. So with self-tape, I've got an actor friend, he did 17 different takes. What was that? Please just send 2. Please don't, you know. Well, you know, it got darker and the light was better in this take. And I'm like, wow, it is. We just want a little snippet like we do at casting. You know,
and not only that, the other thing to remember, guys, is we're asking you to self-tape probably based on your CV, your show reel, and your headshots. So it's not just the self-tape; it's a more rounded decision. And usually, it's the self-tape, you know, is the first round. Like Kate was saying, the next round might be a virtual, Zoom chat where we're directing you and recording it, or the director might be watching in on a Zoom chat. So it's never just, you know, that self-tape you've done. There's always more that we're looking at, you know, whether it's your, again, your show reel or your pictures.
Yeah, great. So Aaron Dean has asked, what is the best approach to developing a relationship with a casting director outside of the audition room? James, if we go to you first.
Don't. I don't quite know what that means. Like, you know, it's there is any relationship that we have with actors have come from the audition room or from a performance that we've seen in them. You know, I honestly, this sounds mad, but I'm not going to say, yes, I want to have a relationship with you outside of the room, because that would mean I don't have time for my best friends, never mind the thousands of actors that want to. So I know that sounds kind of like a weird response, but in all honesty, any relationship that I'm going to build is built out of like bringing you in the room a lot. But even then, outside of the room, we will still maintain professionalism, so that there's no sort of cross lines.
Casting director outside the casting room. Don't annoy me. I'm busy. Please don't ask me ridiculous questions. The other thing is, actors forget. You do get remembered for the wrong things sometimes. Yeah. Particularly if you come in for a casting and then as you leave the room, tell me you're not free for the shoot dates.
Oh,
in front of clients.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Maybe relationship isn't the best word there. Maybe keep up to date with the work that you're doing. I know that a lot of you are.
We're all quite active on social media, and I think that is one place, or our websites, or your agent. And if you don't have an agent, then websites, social media. Write an email saying, "Hi, I see that you're casting X, Y, and Z." Don't expect a response because, again, we're not being rude, but we went to New York prior to lockdown. We finished 6 projects that week. And, you know, by that point, we had actually seen 4,000 actors this year, dancers and performers, from January to the middle of March. Those figures are huge. We were sending out around 400 emails a day. And so we don't have time to build that relationship that you want in that way. And we will respond. But I guess for us, certainly, know that if you email us, it will get read, but it won't necessarily get responded until we need you, really.
I think just to add on to that, as James is saying, it's you coming into the room and doing the business makes me want to get you in for the next project I'm doing because I know you can do the business. So it's all about doing good, professional, strong auditions, even if you don't get the part. But if you go in there and you do a job, maybe my director doesn't like it, but if I think, you know, that person's pretty awesome, then I'm going to think of you again for the next project or something after that, because we're always working on different things. And if I think probably the question is talking about, you know, how to contact casting directors and things like that. I mean, if you're in a production, it's no harm, drop casting directors an email to say if you'd like tickets, you know, checking in with a casting director, you know, twice a year is not a bad thing. You know, it's just when it starts getting weird, you know, and you're calling
and I'd also say on social media.
But you're calling up a casting director wondering, should you go on holidays? I mean, that's when it gets weird, you know. So, you know, just
go for it with the social media.
I would also say on social media, on the whole, watch that getting weird with us. You know, don't like every single tweet. Don't respond to every single tweet we do. Use it as a reference point. Don't submit yourself on social media unless we explicitly ask you to.
Never, ever communicate with us through social media unless we have specifically said, guys, this is how you do it. Or certainly don't expect a response through that. Some of them are private social media and we can't collate that. And also I won't respond due to all sorts of things like GDPR, things like, you know, I'm not going to say, and get in a private conversation with you on Facebook if I don't know you. It's just never going to happen. Email through your agent. That is literally for us certainly the only way we ever want you to communicate with us regarding castings. We did have one actor who their agent had submitted. We said to the agent that they're not right for this particular project because of XYZ, and they wrote to us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, emailed us, called us, everything to be us. You just start looking crazy. Don't do that.
And there's other productions. Don't get fixated on one production, you know.
Yeah.
There's loads of other parts. Don't get fixated on one part, guys. You'll drive yourself mad.
Yeah.
Cool. So Laura Eubank has asked, what kind of things would you like to hear when you ask actors to talk about themselves? So tell us a bit about yourselves. What do you like to hear? Kate, you're laughing, so I'm going to you.
I have a favourite question to ask. I ask, tell me something interesting about yourself.
Nice.
So sometimes I just want to find out something interesting. And I've got to be honest, being a mum is not interesting. Please don't tell me that. Being an actor, a singer or a dancer is not interesting either, because that's why you're in the room in front of me. So yes, that is my favourite question. Tell me something interesting. I have met incredible people over the years. Some guy was related to Shakespeare, he found out. I've met a guy who's got a number 7 tattooed on his back, like a football shirt. It happened when he was 18 years old.
Oh my
You
God.
don't know it, but you know. And I find I like to ask that question because there is something interesting about all of us. You know, there really is. I have a bizarre middle name, you know.
Which
So,
is? Are you...
Sixpence. My middle name's Sixpence.
No way!
Yeah, Katie Sixpence. How sweet that. But
That
you know,
is
that's
so
quite
middle
interesting.
class.
My mum's a hippie. My mum and dad were hippies, and yeah, hence I ended up that. But it warms people up. It makes them smiley. It makes them think. I get lots of different reactions to that question, but it makes me feel like I'm getting to know that person. And also, when you're talking naturally, I see things in actors and actresses, and when they act, that innocence goes, or something goes. But I've seen it in the little chat we've had. So I know as a casting director, I can get that out of them. It's there. So I think the chats that we all have, I think personally, that's my favourite question. I love finding out about people, and I love knowing a bit more. And I think it can add to their depth and their character and all sorts.
Yeah.
You know, with James, it'll be a different question. With Brendan and Andrea, it'll be different things. We all look for different things. So yeah, if you come to one of my castings, guys, even if you make it up, I don't know that, do I? This
And
guys,
what,
you can add to that.
what about you, Andrea? What do you like to hear when you ask a question, or do you ask a different question like Kate?
Quite often, sometimes I don't even ask that. I haven't got time. It's just literally name, agent, profiles, go. Other times, if I do say, you know, tell me a bit about yourself, I don't want to hear you're an actor or a dancer or whatever. I want to hear that thing that's unique to you, that's going to make me remember who you are. Like, as I was saying on these chats, you know, people who are talking to me about their run of beans, or the fact that they've just wallpapered their kitchen with pineapples or something. Those are the little things that I'm going to remember, and I'm going to write down silly little notes, and that's what's going to jog my memory in, you know, 2 weeks or 2 years. That's what I want to hear. I don't want, keep it unique and keep it slightly quirky. That's what I quite like.
Yeah, great. So Andrea Sandel has asked, she's been in the industry for 10 years as an actor, and she struggled getting castings for paid acting work in the last few years. Last year, I did some supporting artist work to make ends meet. If, say, an agent put me forward for an acting role, but an extras agency put me forward for an extra role, would this then go against me and confuse the director what to consider me for? So I think she's trying to say she wants to make money, make a living, to obviously do the things that we all need to do. How do you think that plays into when you're casting? If you see somebody be suggested to be a background role from a background agency, and then they've been suggested to be, you know what I'm saying? Brendan's got his thumbs up. What do you think, Brendan?
I think I've no problem with any actor doing background work. You're going to learn more as an extra on set than you are pulling pints in some pub when we used to have pubs. So I think I often bring in actors who have an extras agent, because maybe that agent has suggested them for a featured role if they're right for the role, and I feel like maybe I've met them before and I think they can do a job, you know. Because sometimes we have to cast walk-ons, or, you know, sometimes, you know, we're casting extras as well. But if somebody comes in for a walk-on role and does a job, and then, you know, a week later I'm doing a feature role that I think they could do a good job on, I'm going to bring them in, you know, and I've done that on numerous occasions, you know. So I'm an advocate for, you know, if you don't want to advertise that you've done extra work, that's fine. It's entirely up to you. But, you know, don't shy away from it. It's good money, and you could learn a lot, and you could get upgraded, you know. I mean, and a lot of actors, you know, I mean, I'm only referencing it because he talked about it recently, but like there's all that footage of Brad Pitt as an extra in the background of all these big movies, you know. And Jack Nicholson was an extra, for God's sake, at one stage. You know, I mean, you will learn more, as I keep saying, you'll learn more, and, you know, I think you can pick up opportunities being on a set better than you can in a call center. And I'm not denigrating those jobs, but that's just my opinion. You're going to make more contacts if you keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground. You know, there's ways to kick on and use these situations to your advantage. And as I said, in casting terms, I've brought in people for walk-on roles. They've done a job, and I'm thinking, oh, this person's pretty awesome. I'll get them in a week later for a more featured role. You know, if you're doing a good job, solid work will stand to you, and you'll kick on from it. That's how you'll build a base. And that's how this industry can work. Your strong, solid work will stand to you. You'll kick on. People will want to work with you. That's how it happens.
Great. Does anybody else have any takes on that question?
No, I agree with Brendan. That's, you know, that is our job, to find the right person for the right part. It is as simple as that.
Great. So we're going to be wrapping up in a moment. I just wanted to ask you all individually if you had any tips, whether that be something that you're doing to keep yourself like motivated creatively, or if it's something that you want to give to actors as a bit of advice on what they could be doing right now just to keep them motivated or engaged, apart from all the things that we're doing right now. Yeah, Andrea, did you have anything that you're doing in your life to keep you happy?
I'm watching so much telly, it's ridiculous. But what I want to say is what is probably more important, what you don't do. Don't feel you have to be jumping on webinars, you have to be doing all these things. If you want to sit and watch Homes Under the Hammer for 24 hours while he's eating cake, that is fine. That is totally justifiable. You don't have to. There are these things out here for you to take advantage of, but honestly, you don't have to. Don't feel bad if you're not doing it. I think that's the main thing, really. Mm-hmm. Be aware of what you're not doing as well as what you are doing.
Yeah. And what about you?
I think now people, you know, we're all starting to look forward, but I've personally enjoyed having a bit of space in my life. I don't think I've ever had this space before, just to clean out the kitchen cupboards, you know, things like that. But just space, you know, I mean, all of us are extremely busy when we're working, and, you know, I do 6 till 10 at night some days, you know, and you're working weekends as well. And, you know, one job finishes, you get another job in, and it's constant. So a bit of breathing space. And, you know, we've used it, you know, the team have used it to update the website, you know, to make sure our accounts are well. You know, use this time to just update things, you know, whether it be painting a wall light grey in your house to do, you know, self-tape against or something. I don't know. I think I know things are difficult, and mental health is a big one at the moment. You know, obviously reaching out to people is important, but just take some time and just, yeah, I think being in the moment gives you a lot. It really does. Not many of us got time to take stock of anything, and now we have. And things will pick up, and things will be moving soon. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, James? How are you and Rosie?
We're very lucky. We have a garden, so I love gardening. So, you know, that's been a bit of a solace. So things like that, just trying to spend time outdoors, you know, if we can. To add on to what Kate and Andrea have said, you know, do what you want to do, but don't be on social media thinking, don't let that social media thing give you anxiety, make you feel bad that you're not doing this or you're not doing that. And just, I think exactly what Kate said, that having that space, that time is incredible, and it will settle you. And I think that, you know, really limit your social media time during this, because I can, you know, we see people just, you must be on it like out of your waking hours, 10, 12 hours a day. And that's not good for anyone, you know. Try and learn a new skill or something. You know, this is a big thing we did for you know, just try and learn a language or write something, or try and learn an instrument, whether it's just drumming. I don't know, anything apart from just being so caught up in what you should or shouldn't be doing, and really remember that no one is doing better than you. That in terms of like, it's not like a shoot closes early and because they lose the funding, or a tour collapses because and everything else is still going on. You're not that kind of actor. Every producer, agent, casting director, actor, every single person in our industry, apart from one production in Singapore of Phantom of the Opera, apart from that, nothing is happening. Like maybe the odd filming here and there, but nothing. So breathe on that, really absorb that, and make that a positive thing. That, okay, I'm not being left behind. I have time to chill. That is honestly, because that's what we've had to do as well.
Yeah. And Brandon, are you watching anything at the moment that you would recommend? Because I'm looking for them as much as probably Andrea is, if you watched everything that's going on.
I finished the Michael Jordan thing last night, and my God, there's an inspiring person. I know it's not our industry, but by God, he was focused. He was focused on what he wanted to do, and he went and did it. And it's just a very well put together documentary. So
we started The West Wing from the start.
Oh yeah, good.
I'm an old fan. Oh man.
Yeah. The problem is watching it now is like, oh God, like that's the president, that's the person you want in charge in every country right now. It's like, honestly, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's sentimental, but it kicks you right, like, whoa, in moments, and the writing is just extraordinary. And yeah, I can definitely recommend that, West Wing.
Amazing.
We watched The West Wing, folks.
Yes, all of it. From start to end.
Yeah.
Or
Oliver Platt, best cameo performance in The West Wing.
We haven't got there yet. Looking forward to that.
Unbelievable.
I was just going to ask Hannah, what have you been up to?
Yeah.
Thanks. I've been walking my dog quite an unusual amount because he's really, really tiny. His leg's probably going to fall off. And doing loads of work, to be honest with you. Like, I've been really busy with all of this stuff with Backstage, and I've been speaking to quite a few of your members. We had Leanne, and we've had quite a few people on. So I've been really busy with that. And it's like you guys, just working in a different way and trying to change with the times and move forward. But outside of work, I've been walking a lot, drinking like a very concerning amount of gin, and
white wine.
Wine and gin.
So yeah, that's it really. Yeah. Right, we're gonna have to wrap up there, guys. And I could chat to you all for ages, and I thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. Right, where can everyone find you on social media? Andrea, if you want to go first.
Well, I would say actually probably the best thing to do is just look at the Casting Directors Association web Twitter page, which is @CDASSOC. And then you'll find the rest of us all from there. And it also can link you through to the YouTube channel as well, where you'll see most of our faces.
The CDA Twitter is such a good follow because you guys always retweet any public castings that have gone out. You also put out loads of advice, even when COVID's not going on. You're always sending out advice and things for actors. So make sure you follow them. @CDASSOC.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay, and you can follow Backstage on @Backstage on Twitter, and we're on Instagram @BackstageCast. You can also follow me. I'm @Hannah Casting, and I'm posting out all of the UK content that we're doing with COVID at the moment, which I'm hoping is going to actually continue because it's been a right laugh. So thank you so much, guys, and thank you to everyone watching. And
thanks very much.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah. Bye, guys.
Bye.